We have some amazing money-saving tips that you can start doing today to save over $35,000 and beyond. My name is Carmen.
And I'm Darius. And let me tell you that having $35,000 extra dollars in your account at the end of the year feels great. It allows you to have a sigh of relief to know that you have more money than you did last year, and the fact that you have incorporated better habits into your life than you did last year.
Exactly. So we know we felt completely different once we started saving more and more money in our household, and we want to help you get to the 7 steps that we're going to share with you so you can start feeling even better about your financial health.
Right. Now, the very first thing that we're just going to go ahead and get out the way is to get rid of third-party debt. The reason why that's so important is because a lot of times we spend more in interest than we actually save. Now, you know that. But what also happens is the feeling that you have of not owing anybody any money. That's a sigh of relief that is off of your shoulders, that allow you to operate differently, allow you to move differently, allow you to float a little more in your day-to-day when you don't have to worry about those third-party debts.
A little weightless, right? You're not weighted down. And this thing is just one of those things. You know, as consumers, we tend to overspend, and we tend to not really understand the income, what's coming in and out. And so we want you to start having a better relationship with your money. And that is getting out of debt. There are so many different tactics and schemes you can go through as far as, do you do a debt snowball, meaning do you start paying off the smallest interest, or do you do the debt avalanche, meaning you pay off the largest interest first? It's just going to depend on your journey and what suits you. So what I would recommend today is tally up all of your debts and either rank them from the smallest balance to the largest, or the largest interest that you're paying to the smallest, and determine which route you want to take and which one you want to start paying off first. Right. And the important thing that you need to start doing is recognizing that only pay the minimum payments to these debts. And the whole point of this snowball is for you to aggressively pay off one debt at a time and then just roll over that balance to the next and the next and the next. So it's hard to make a lot of traction if you're overpaying on all of your debts, when you can take the overpayments from the other debts and just focus it on one specific debt and then move to the next and move to the next. So that's the key thing that we would say as far as from a consumer standpoint is getting out of debt as soon as you possibly can.
Right. And I think a lot of times what's not talked about is how good you feel mentally after getting out of debt.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times what people do is we focus on the debt itself, and oh yeah, I got out of $100,000 worth of debt, which we did, and we had more money as a result of it to save. But I think a lot of times what people don't also talk about is how much of a stress relief that is to not have to worry about that debt over your head.
Yeah. And one thing that I would say, like for our journey with this whole debt piece, we did the debt snowball because for us, we wanted the small wins, to see those small balances being paid off, because that gave us the boost that we needed to keep moving forward. Whereas sometimes if you work on the debt avalanche and you have the largest debt, it might take you a little longer to pay off the first debt, where we wanted to hit those base hits right out of the gate. Right. So again, like I said, it depends on your journey. And then this whole thing with debt, like Darius was just saying, is just recognizing how much money you're spending on a monthly basis on debt. You know, we weren't in tune with that. And once we actually took the time to add up all of the debt that we had, we were spending almost $2,000 a month, not almost, actually $2,000 a month on debt. Just think about that. But we didn't think about it because it was $100 here, $200 here, $500 here, and we didn't add it all up to go, wait a second, this is someone else's income that's literally leaving our household every single month. And so once you start to understand how much money you're spending and how much money you can keep by just getting rid of your debts, you give yourself a pay raise by just freeing up the debt that you have.
Right. Now, the second thing a lot of you may have already done, but something also to take in consideration is to cut cable. The reason why cutting cable is important because cable is really expensive when you think about how much the value that you're getting, because a lot of times you only look at a few channels anyway, but you're spending for these other additional channels that you don't even watch. So if we can cut cable and replace that with something else, that maybe YouTube, maybe subscribing to the Wealth Nation channel and watching our channel.
While you're at it.
But then you also have podcasts. You even have books. Cable.
Books? Oh my goodness.
Books, old school. So by cutting cable, that's even more money that you can start saving so that you can start putting more money towards your debt. So that you can pay that off more aggressively, or just having more money. Because one thing that happened for us is we had an opportunity where we lived in another country and we didn't even have a TV. And when we came back to the States, we realized that TV wasn't that important to us because it wasn't something that was necessary. So when we cut that from our spending, we realized that there was a few extra $100 that we had to where we can spend more intentionally.
And also, I think it showed us at the end of the day, when you sit in front of the TV, you want to be entertained, right? So how can you get entertainment in different ways that actually feeds your brain? And not hijacks it. Because when you sit in front of the TV, you're literally just sitting in front of a program, being programmed and conditioned by all of the junk that's on TV anyway. Now, don't get me wrong, there's good and bad to TV, right? But the point is to just get you to start living in a life with intent. And you can't live a life with intent if you are being programmed, letting yourself be programmed. And so what I want to do also too is just take a step back really quickly, because this whole video is not about skimping. It's not about living a scarcity mindset. It's about changing your mindset and thinking more abundantly. And how can you better utilize your money to have better resources available to you, as opposed to just doing the same old thing.
Yeah.
And when we think about these millionaire mindset hacks and these tips and tricks and things that people are doing, I guarantee those who are wealthy aren't sitting in front of a TV, right? They're reading books, they're learning, they're listening to podcasts. And so a lot of you who have the NFL network, you're spending over $200 and $300 a month for your cable bill sitting in front of your TV, when you can be more resourceful and find different ways of entertainment that's actually educating you, that's helping you become the best version of yourself.
Right. Because one thing that I thought about as you were talking is with debt, what we do is we spend money.
Yes.
But then we also lose twice, because we also lose our ability to earn money.
Yes. Yes.
Same thing's true with cable.
Yeah.
Not only are we watching this program that isn't serving us, but for the most part may put bad thoughts in our brain, but we're also losing the time that we could have been spending making money or doing
being
something
with your
productive
family,
or being with your family, things of that nature.
Yeah.
There's so many things that we do that we look on the surface that we maybe lose our time, but there's so many other things that we lose in the process.
Yes.
that adds up over time.
Yeah, because think about it, like with the amount of hours that you sit in front of the TV, how many of those hours could you be outside exploring your neighborhood, cycling, running, doing something more productive that is better serving you than just sitting being stagnant.
Right.
Just a thought.
Now, the third thing that we want to do is we want to leverage technology. And we want to save automatically, because if it's left up to us, what we would do is we would save as the last thing that we did after we pay our bills. But if we do it automatically, as soon as we get paid, money automatically goes into our savings account. That's something that we don't have to worry about, and it's something that happens without us even trying. It's done automatically for us.
Yeah.
So the benefit of doing this is we only have the money that is in our checking account that's left over to spend. And what we do is we automatically start to spend. We automatically start to spend less than we earn.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it's by default. We automatically spend less than we earn. And where else will we have to do that? Well, we have to do that in retirement by default. And we also, when we become wealthy, we have to do that. We don't have to do that. We just naturally do it.
Yeah.
The reason being is we live off the interest that we earn from our investments,
Correct.
which means that we're living off less than what we earn.
Correct. Yeah. And it's another thing to just start to consider, because these things are all about strategy. You know, we don't wake up every day to not live an intentional life, but why do we?
Yeah.
Right? We continue to just let our subconscious guide us through life, and then we sit here and go, I'm not happy with how I'm living. I'm not happy with this. I'm not doing, so-and-so, and I'm not achieving these goals. It's because you're going throughout your life living subconsciously, and you're not conscious to how that's affecting your goals, how it's affecting what you're doing in life. So it's always a reminder for us when we're sharing this information is just to wake you up and go, hey, maybe we can start being a little bit more productive in different areas, whether it's our money, whether it's our personal life, our professional life, whatever it is, so that every single day you're just making small incremental changes so that, again, you can be the best version of yourself.
Right. And take it from us, those small incremental changes that we make add up to a lot of money at the end of the year, $35,000 plus in our case.
Yeah. And the numerical part of it, when we led with the VO saving over $35,000, right? It's up to you to find the money, figuring out how much money am I spending that I don't need to spend, or how much money can I spend to learn more, to start learning more skills, become more resourceful, being able to invest so that I can make more money. It's just the approach that you're trying to take.
Right.
So saving money that will then allow you to invest more can significantly change what you're trying to do with your life.
Right. Now, the fourth thing is to cut down on your grocery budget.
Yeah.
The reason why that's important is because it costs more money. We realized that it cost us more money to eat junk food than it was just to eat healthy food. What we found
How about them apples?
Yeah, what we found is when we stick to the meat and produce section of the grocery store, we come out spending less money. And not only do we spend less money, we're healthier as a result because we're not eating Oreos and junk food. Now, Oreos was my thing. Oreos and salt and vinegar potato chips. That was my thing. But when we started to cut these things out of our diet, we became healthier as a result because of just eating meat and vegetables.
Yeah, and like the brain fog goes away, all of that happens. And again, we're talking abundant thinking as opposed to scarcity. We're thinking strategy. We know that junk food isn't good for us. We know that just spending money isn't good for us. So how can we approach the grocery store with more strategy to live a healthier life and to ultimately feel better? Because when you eat better, you feel better, and then you're just overall more productive. And then you don't want to just sit on the couch and watch TV. You want to go outside and take a walk. It just, everything compounds, right? And it just improves your overall well-being. And then you recognize, like, it doesn't have to cost me a ton of money to live a fantastic life when I'm aware of the life that I am or was living.
Right. That was by far the craziest thing that we learned on our journey, is that it was less expensive. Our grocery bill was less expensive when we cut out junk food. Crazy. Try it out.
No, seriously, because I think with me, when I was doing the grocery shopping and Darius was looking at the bill, I think he was really surprised to go, wait, that this can't be right. This can't be right. And it's like, yeah, when you just buy meat and vegetables and you actually take the time to sit and cook it, and you can have more meals and be satiated, it just changes things.
Right. Absolutely.
And now you're not mindlessly, right? The name of the game of what we're talking about here is being proactive. You're not mindlessly eating junk. You're not mindlessly sitting in front of the TV. You're not mindlessly not incorrectly spending your money. You know, that there's a theme here.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, the fifth thing, just to piggyback on the grocery budget, is to eat at home. Pack a lunch instead of going out for lunch when you go to work. Because by doing this, not only are you eating healthier, you also know what's going into your food. And it's less expensive as a result. So if we want to get to that point to where we're automatically at the end of the year have $35,000, $40,000, $50,000 saved, what we have to do is we have to start spending a little differently. And it may take a little more work on our part to pack a lunch or eat at home, but it's well worth it because you know exactly what's going into your food and how those ingredients are going to help fuel you instead of maybe slow you down.
Yeah, and I think the perspective too is like when we were both in corporate America, we were both eating out with lunch almost every single day, at least 3 times a week. And not only did that add up, but then that went against everything that we were doing with our health. So if we were coming home and eating a healthy dinner, but then we had junk for lunch, our attitudes were different, you know, our bodies were different. We felt the difference of what was going on. And so when we recognized, like, okay, let's just start eating healthy all day long, go figure, things change. And again, it's the compound effect of what's happening. You're saving more money. You're not literally just giving your money away to restaurants. You're keeping it more for yourself. Now, don't get me wrong. Treat yourself. Definitely go out, do your thing, but do it with intent. What's the word that I'm trying to say? Don't go out 5 days a week. Maybe do it once a week, and whatever it is, because then you start recognizing the coworkers that you're hanging around. What is lunch at the end of the day? It's just a gossip fest. Those things aren't feeding you. Go eat your lunch, go listen to a podcast, go watch YouTube or whatever it is, and go learn something so that you can figure out how to make more money or use that skill to make more money.
Right. Now, if you're not realizing, but some of the things that we're talking about are things that we've actually done ourselves. One of the big things that Carmen and I spent a lot of money on is restaurants. And when we started cooking our food at home instead of going out to restaurants, we were able to save a lot of money, which is how we got to where we are now, where we are able to have $35,000, $40,000 at the end of the year. Now, another thing that Carmen and I enjoy doing is traveling. Now, we can travel all over the world to get different experiences, but there's also places right here in the United States that we can go and experience that we've never done before. The United States has a ton of different places that we can visit. There's also a ton of different places that we can visit right here in our own city.
Yeah.
Right now we're close to DC, and there's a ton of things that surround us that we can go visit. So staycations is another way in which we were able to save money instead of going to another country, because we had to pay for travel, which is expensive for a lot of places. We had to pay for transportation once we got there. Yeah. When we don't have to pay for some of those things, those are extra funds that we can put aside so that we can save at the end of the year.
It's important for you to fall in love with your environment, right? Far too often we just become so fantasized with seeing other places. And I'm not saying don't go travel and go to other countries, but sometimes we take for granted what's in our own backyard. And we literally found a gem of something that we really love that's just 30 minutes away from us. And so if you are not living this intentional life and you're not enjoying your environment, then what are you really doing at the end of the day? And so that's why we want to encourage people is don't feel FOMO, fear of missing out. If you can't get to Cabo, if you can't get to Europe, fall in love with your own city, fall in love with the next city that's close to you, because there's so many amazing resources that are just hours away from us, and we get so beaten down by not being able to get to the next place here or there, when you can still learn and explore and have just as much fun exploring places that are within, a 4-hour drive from you.
Right.
So again, don't think about what you can't do. Think about what you can do or what you get to do. It's just about reframing everything that you have in life. And that's why when we're going through this whole list of the things that you can do to better leverage your money, like we said, it's not about what you can't do. It's about what you get to do, and having a different perspective and having a renewed vision on the life that you're trying to live for yourself.
Yeah, that was well put.
Thanks.
That was well put. Now, the seventh thing is save extra money or unexpected income. A good example of this is last year when people were getting stimulus checks. What did you do with that stimulus check? Did you save that money because it was an unexpected income that you received? Because by saving unexpected income, you're able to not only think about what you're able to do with it first, but it's also a way in which it can better serve you when you spend it intentionally.
Absolutely. I think that's the biggest thing, because as consumers, we can easily just start spending the money. Oh, we got this. Let's go to Cabo, guys. where that's not an intentional spending, right? That's just impulsive spending. So
or let's go out.
Yeah. Or let's blow the money at the end of the day. So again, living a life of intention is going to help you save money. It's going to help you then utilize that money to hopefully invest, make that money work for you, right? Because that's the whole point of this thing is when you create financial freedom and when you start finding more money, you want to find more money. That's why we said, don't just stop at $35,000, keep going, because that's what we started started doing when we were able to save more and more of our income is we recognize, hey, what this allows us to do and the cash flow and how it has completely changed our lifestyle by just having money on hand. We are no longer missing out on those opportunities to invest, to make money, because we're living a life of intention.
Right. And that's the whole point. What's the point of having $35,000 in your savings account and just being able to look at it? Because having $35,000 in our savings account is we're losing money every single day because of inflation. The whole point of saving money is to get to a point to where you can invest it and live off the interest. The interest is what's going to allow you to go to that trip to Cabo. The interest is what's going to allow you to go to your favorite restaurant more often than not. What we have to do is we have to spend intentionally first. And then when we're able to channel that money into our investments, then we're able to have our money work for us and allow us to do the things that we want to do versus us having to go out and work for it.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, what this all boils down to is you taking ownership of your health, your wealth, and your happiness. And when you are not dependent on something or someone to do that for you, the game is going to change. And then it just opens up all these levels for you to expand your horizons, become more resourceful, and live the life of intention.
Right. Now, Carmen and I, what we're working towards is only living off of 50% of our income and saving the rest so that we can invest. And if you want more information on how we manage our money, then check out this next video where we talk about our money management.
And don't forget to own your own lifestyle.
Or someone else will.